In the quiet hours before Ozzy Osbourne took his final breath, a storm of emotion, pain, and reflection unfolded behind closed doors. For the first time, Ozzy's longtime doctor is breaking the silence, offering an intimate, unfiltered glimpse into the music legend's final days. His death wasn't sudden, but it was still deeply haunting. As his body weakened from years of battling Parkinson's, chronic pain, and mounting complications, the man once known as the Prince of Darkness faced his most human moment: letting go. Behind the curtain of fame stood a fragile figure, surrounded by love, pain, and unspoken goodbyes. What the doctor shares now is not just medical, it's personal, poignant, and heartbreaking. This is how Ozzy truly spent his last moments: a lifetime on the edge, the price of rock and roll. Ozzy Osbourne's life was nothing short of legendary, marked by explosive performances, a magnetic stage presence, and a rock and roll spirit that seemed untouchable. But behind the wild persona that fans adored was a man whose body bore the scars of decades spent pushing beyond physical limits. His final years were shaped by the long-term consequences of that life on the edge. Years of relentless touring, high-energy concerts, and daredevil stunts had taken a brutal toll. The very spine that supported his powerful stage moves was battered and worn from years of strain and injury. Several accidents during performances compounded the damage. Falls, heavy equipment mishaps, and the physical demands of jumping and moving under bright lights left Ozzy with severe spinal injuries. Those injuries were more than just aches. They became a persistent, grinding pain that never fully went away. His doctor recounted how Ozzy endured multiple surgeries over the years, each aimed at repairing or alleviating his spinal damage. Some surgeries provided short-term relief, but the core problems remained. The chronic pain gnawed at him daily, making even the simplest movements a battle. Parkinson's disease, the silent thief of movement. In 2019, a new chapter of hardship began when Ozzy was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological disorder that gradually robbed him of control over his own body. For a man known for his dynamic energy and stage presence, this was a cruel twist of fate. Parkinson's disease manifests through a constellation of symptoms: tremors that shook his hands, muscle stiffness that tightened his limbs, slow and labored movements, and a loss of balance that made simple tasks hazardous. Over time, even everyday actions like eating or walking became mountains to climb. His personal doctor described how these symptoms worsened and intertwined with the unrelenting pain from his spinal injuries. It was a vicious cycle, the doctor explained. The more pain he felt, the harder it was for him to move, and the less he moved, the more his symptoms progressed. Ozzy tried everything: physical therapy sessions, medications, and experimental treatments to slow the disease's relentless advance. Yet Parkinson's proved merciless. Ozzy fought with every ounce of his being, the doctor said quietly. But Parkinson's doesn't care about your willpower. The lingering shadows of addiction and its toll. To truly understand the full picture of Ozzy's health decline, one cannot ignore the long shadow cast by years of addiction. His battles with drugs, alcohol, and smoking were public knowledge, but the lasting damage these habits inflicted was often overlooked. Ozzy had been caught in a destructive whirlwind of substance abuse during the 1970s and 1980s, a period marked by excess and chaos. Though he eventually overcame these addictions decades ago, the physical scars remained deep. His doctor revealed that prolonged heavy use severely impaired several vital organs, especially his liver and kidneys. These organs are crucial for detoxifying the body and maintaining overall health. But in Ozzy's later years, they struggled to keep up. The damage contributed to fatigue, weakness, and complications that made managing his other health issues even harder. Addiction also exacted a toll on his mental health. Depression and anxiety haunted Ozzy for many years, intertwined with his physical pain and neurological decline. The doctor and family members described a complex emotional landscape, a man wrestling with regret, loss, and the relentless pressure of fame. The struggle to maintain dignity and quality of life. Even as his symptoms worsened and pain intensified, Ozzy fought to preserve his dignity and independence. His medical care became a delicate balancing act, an intricate regimen of pain management, physical therapy, and medications aimed at easing muscle stiffness and tremors without dulling his mind or spirit. His doctor spoke of the challenges in managing his pain. Powerful painkillers and sedatives offered some relief, but came with side effects that clouded his alertness and affected his mood. Still, Ozzy refused to surrender completely. He never gave up, one caregiver said. Even when his body was failing, his heart fought on. Family members were crucial pillars of support, witnessing both his moments of frustration and his bursts of stubborn resolve. But as the disease progressed, Ozzy's dependence on others grew. The loss of autonomy, once a fiercely guarded aspect of his identity, was deeply painful. Simple tasks required assistance, and this shift challenged his sense of self. Yet through it all, there were moments of joy and grace. Whether laughing with family or listening to music, Ozzy's essence shone through. His resilience in the face of relentless adversity was a testament to his character. The psychological burden, fame, isolation, and mental health. Behind the physical trials lay an equally fierce psychological battle. Ozzy's mental health suffered under the intense glare of fame and the profound isolation that often accompanies chronic illness. The world knew the Prince of Darkness as a symbol of rock rebellion, but privately, Ozzy contended with feelings of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. The pressures of his public life, constant scrutiny, high expectations, and the weight of legacy exacerbated his emotional struggles. Doctors and close friends described the toll that this invisible battle took on him. Despite a strong support system, Ozzy often felt misunderstood, caught between the persona the world adored and the vulnerable man beneath. This duality was perhaps the heaviest burden of all, the tension between public myth and private reality. The vibrant performer who once captivated millions was now confronting his own fragility, a journey difficult for him to accept. Yet even in his darkest moments, there was a spark of hope. Ozzy's family recalled how music, humor, and moments of connection helped anchor him. These glimpses of light served as reminders that beneath the pain was a deeply human spirit still fighting to be heard and loved. Genetic shadows, a family history of neurological disease. Ozzy Osbourne's battle with Parkinson's disease was complicated not only by the physical and emotional toll of his past, but also by genetics, a shadow that stretched deep into his family history. Parkinson's, while influenced by lifestyle and environment, often carries a hereditary component, and Ozzy's family was no exception. Several relatives had suffered from neurological disorders, a fact that doctors believe played a significant role in the severity and speed of Ozzy's decline. This intersection of inherited vulnerability and decades of external pressures created a complex medical picture. Doctors explained that while Ozzy's lifestyle, marked by years of rigorous touring, substance use, and relentless physical strain, contributed heavily to his condition, the genetic predisposition likely accelerated the progression of Parkinson's in his body. It was as if Ozzy was fighting a battle on two fronts, one shaped by the choices he made, and another predetermined by the biology passed down through generations. This added dimension brought a profound sadness to those close to him. The idea that some of his suffering was, in part, written in his DNA made the struggle feel even more poignant. It reminded everyone that despite his larger-than-life persona, Ozzy was, at his core, human, subject to the same frailties and uncertainties that touch so many families. The cost of delay, missed early treatment opportunities. A particularly painful chapter in Ozzy's story was the delayed recognition and treatment of his Parkinson's symptoms. His medical team reflected on how crucial early diagnosis can be in managing this disease, yet for Ozzy, the signs went unaddressed for too long. Whether due to denial, fear of what the diagnosis might mean, or the relentless demands of his career and public life, Ozzy did not seek medical help immediately when he first noticed troubling symptoms. This delay had serious consequences. Parkinson's disease, especially in its early stages, can often be managed more effectively with timely intervention, slowing its progression and improving the quality of life for years. For Ozzy, however, the late start meant that treatments had to play catch-up with a disease already well advanced. His body, burdened with years of injuries, addictions, and neurological challenges, found it difficult to respond to therapies that might have been more effective earlier. His family recalled how, even as symptoms worsened, Ozzy was reluctant to admit vulnerability. The rock star, who had always projected strength and defiance, struggled privately with accepting that he needed help. It was a painful lesson in the importance of facing illness head-on, something that for Ozzy came too late to change the course of his decline. The role of family and caregivers. A network of love and support. Despite the harsh realities of Ozzy's health, his final months were marked by a circle of unwavering love and devotion. Family members, close friends, and professional caregivers came together to create a supportive environment that sought to honor Ozzy's dignity and comfort in the face of relentless decline. His wife, Sharon Osbourne, was a constant presence, a rock of strength who juggled the roles of advocate, nurse, and emotional anchor. Their children took turns offering care and companionship, often putting their own lives on hold to ensure Ozzy never felt alone. Nurses and physical therapists worked tirelessly to manage his symptoms, carefully adjusting medications and therapies to maximize relief while preserving his alertness and personality. His personal doctor praised this network as essential. "Medical treatments can only go so far," the doctor said. "It's the love, patience, and dedication of those around him that truly made a difference in his final days." This human connection, the doctor explained, was as vital as any medication in providing comfort. Navigating Parkinson's, the struggle with medication and mobility. Parkinson's disease was a relentless and defining force in Ozzy Osbourne's final years. Diagnosed in 2019, this progressive neurological disorder slowly but surely eroded his physical capabilities, turning everyday movements into formidable challenges. To manage the symptoms, Ozzy's medical team prescribed a variety of Parkinson's medications aimed primarily at easing tremors, improving muscle control, and relieving the stiffening that increasingly gripped his body. These medications, often complex combinations of drugs like levodopa and dopamine agonists, sought to replenish the brain's diminishing dopamine levels, which are critical for smooth, controlled movement. Yet, as with many Parkinson's patients, the effectiveness of these treatments fluctuated. There were times when Ozzy experienced moments of relative calm, where tremors lessened and movement seemed more fluid. But those moments were often overshadowed by off periods, when the medications failed to deliver their intended relief, and his symptoms would surge unpredictably. The frustration was palpable, both for Ozzy and those around him. The unpredictability of his symptoms meant that plans had to be constantly adjusted. A day that began with hope for some independence could end with the harsh reality of immobility. This roller coaster of physical control was mentally exhausting, a stark contrast to the powerful stage presence he had once commanded. The role of physical therapy, a difficult but vital ally. Alongside medication, Ozzy engaged in physical therapy designed to help him maintain as much mobility as possible and to ease some of the stiffness and pain. Therapists worked tirelessly to create tailored routines that could assist with balance, muscle strength, and flexibility. These sessions were crucial in helping Ozzy retain a degree of independence, allowing him to perform some daily tasks without complete reliance on others. However, the physical therapies faced significant obstacles. Ozzy's body was burdened not only by Parkinson's but also by chronic spinal injuries, a legacy of decades spent performing intense, physically demanding concerts and enduring accidents on stage. The pain from these injuries was often severe enough to make regular exercise unbearable. On difficult days, even the gentle stretches prescribed by therapists felt like monumental tasks. Despite the pain and physical limitations, Ozzy showed remarkable determination during therapy sessions. His stubborn spirit, well known throughout his career, was evident as he pushed himself to regain small victories, taking a few steps unaided, standing a little longer, or controlling his tremors just enough to enjoy a meal without assistance. These moments, though fleeting, were deeply meaningful for both him and his caregivers. Family as pillars of strength. Sharon Osbourne's devotion central to Ozzy's battle with illness was the unwavering support of his family, particularly his wife, Sharon Osbourne. More than just a spouse, Sharon was his manager, confidant, and primary caregiver, a steady presence who coordinated his complex medical care and provided emotional grounding. Sharon's role was multifaceted. She helped ensure Ozzy followed his medication schedules, communicated regularly with doctors and therapists, and adjusted treatment plans as his condition evolved. But beyond managing his physical health, Sharon was a source of immense psychological comfort. Ozzy's diagnosis and its accompanying limitations triggered deep emotional and mental challenges, including bouts of depression and anxiety, exacerbated by a lifetime of struggles with addiction and the pressures of fame. Sharon created a nurturing, positive environment at home, encouraging Ozzy to engage in activities that lifted his spirits and helped combat the isolation that often accompanies chronic illness. She was by his side during difficult therapy sessions, holding his hand and offering words of encouragement when frustration threatened to overwhelm him. The bond between them was a testament to enduring love in the face of adversity, a constant reminder that Ozzy was not fighting this battle alone. Psychological therapy. Fighting the invisible battle. In addition to physical treatments, Ozzy sought psychological therapy to address the mental toll of his illnesses. A clinical psychologist who worked with him described these sessions as a vital component of his care, helping him process the profound changes Parkinson's imposed on his identity and lifestyle. Ozzy's mental health struggles were significant. He faced the daunting reality of losing independence, the fading of physical abilities he once took for granted, and the emotional scars left by decades of addiction and public scrutiny. Therapy provided a confidential space for him to express fears, frustrations, and grief, feelings that are often invisible to those watching from the outside. While therapy did not eliminate these burdens, it helped Ozzy develop coping strategies to manage anxiety and depressive episodes. The sessions also offered a reprieve from loneliness, connecting him with professionals who could understand and support the complexities of his experience. Exploring alternative therapies, seeking relief beyond medicine. In his quest to improve quality of life, Ozzy also explored alternative and complementary therapies alongside conventional medicine. These included natural methods such as massages, essential oils, acupuncture, and dietary supplements, all aimed at managing pain, reducing stress, and promoting relaxation. Though scientific research on the effectiveness of such treatments for Parkinson's disease remains limited, Ozzy found that these therapies provided meaningful relief, especially in managing chronic pain and the tension that accompanied muscle stiffness. Massages helped soothe tight muscles and offered moments of calm and comfort that brightened difficult days. Moreover, these holistic treatments contributed to Ozzy's mental well-being. The rituals and sensory experiences, from the scent of calming oils to the gentle pressure of a therapist's hands, helped ease anxiety and foster a sense of peace amidst ongoing physical challenges. Though not replacements for his prescribed medications and therapies, these natural treatments became important parts of his comprehensive care, adding layers of comfort to his daily routine. The crushing weight of chronic pain. Perhaps the most relentless adversary in Ozzy's final years was chronic pain. The combined effects of Parkinson's disease and long-standing spinal injuries inflicted a constant, gnawing agony that no treatment could fully erase. Doctors noted that the pain was multifaceted, stemming not only from neurological symptoms such as muscle rigidity and spasms, but also from mechanical issues related to his spine. This pain was pervasive and exhausting, affecting every aspect of Ozzy's life. Even with a regimen of painkillers, physical therapy, and alternative treatments, Ozzy endured moments when the pain became overwhelming. Simple movements, turning in bed, standing up, or lifting a glass, could trigger waves of discomfort so intense they brought tears or forced him to stop. Family members and medical staff witnessed how this relentless pain drained Ozzy's energy and spirit. It limited his ability to enjoy time with loved ones and forced him to rest more frequently, contributing to a gradual weakening of his body. We truly appreciate your support. Subscribe and be part of our journey.